All right, here we have Acer macrophyllum in the Sapindaceae. That's Acer macrophyllum in the Sapindaceae again, Sapindaceae. Big leaf maple. Big leaf maple has big leaves, and maples have opposite leaves. They have simple opposite leaves. So this is one leaf, and it is opposite to another leaf right here. Okay? If we want, we can look for the buds. They're kind of hidden by this sheathing petiole here, but you can see it if you go like that. You can see the bud right there. Go for it. Yeah, there's a bud right there. And as I rip the leaf, you can see something else that's kind of interesting. You don't all see on all maples, but there's a little bit of white latex. This is a characteristic on several species of maples.
Oh, yes.
Okay, ready?
All right.
So the most obvious thing about maples is the shape of the leaves. And what we say is these leaves are lobed. It's a lobed leaf. The maple leaf is very famous. It's the it stars in the Canadian flag. And basically this is just, one leaf. And the margin here, you can see, it's actually, we would call this entire. It's a smooth margin, but it has all these lobes on it. Okay?
Go.
And you can see the venation on the underside of the leaf is what we call palmate, because it has a central axis, and then each of these primary veins kind of come off. So there's no clear central axis, no clear central vein in this leaf. They're all kind of equally coming off from the central axis here. Big leaf maple has 5 to 7 lobes generally, and the underside of the leaf is fuzzy. All right, ready?
Yeah.
This plant is it's a tree, and it has a generally one central stem. It can be reasonably tall. They can be 50 to 70 feet or so. And this particular individual is covered by a lot of moss. But generally, maples have, big leaf maple has kind of silvery gray or brownish bark that has these sort of shallow furrows, these vertical striping that you can see when it's not covered by moss. Okay, big leaf maple is found in California, in Oregon, in Washington, and it's generally found close to water in wet areas, and it is doesn't have any major uses. It's, the seeds are wind dispersed. They're called samaras, and maybe you've seen them before. They look like little helicopters, and I'm looking right now up, and I don't see any helicopters right now. Do you see any, Isaac? Okay. It's a sometimes you find. Okay, let's have a shot right here. Big leaf maple is a deciduous tree, and sometimes you come and we might find this tree in November or December and won't have any leaves on it. And you might ask yourself, how am I supposed to identify this tree when it has no leaves on it? Well, the leaves fall down below the tree, and here's a big pile of dead leaves. So you can pick them up and you can see the lobed brown, yellowish brown leaves. And then when you look up at the stem as well, you'll notice, even though that you don't see the leaves, you can still tell that it has opposite leaves because you can look for the scars where the leaves used to be. And so just to sum up, big leaf maple, Acer macrophyllum, has silvery bark. It's a tree. It has simple opposite leaves, and they are very strongly lobed, and they're a little fuzzy underneath. There's one tree that people in this class sometimes confuse it with, we'll learn later, which is the California sycamore, that also has lobed leaves that are fuzzy on the underside. However, the California sycamore has alternate leaves, so that's an identification mistake that you should never be made. You should always quickly check and make sure that your tree is alternate or opposite leaves is one of the first things that you should look for. Big leaf maple.